Picture this for a second. You're sitting in a crowded classroom, or maybe you're stuck in a high-stakes work meeting. Suddenly, you're called on to stand up and speak. What happens? Well, your mind goes completely blank. Your heart starts racing out of your chest. Your hands, maybe even your legs actually start shaking. Why on earth does this happen? Or, think about a time when someone said something to you and you just totally froze, literally paralyzed in that exact moment. See, there's this invisible force inside you, constantly pulling the emergency brake. It stops you from speaking your mind, pitching that new project, or just stepping out of your comfort zone. And that invisible force? It's fear.
So let's dive into today's explainer all about conquering that invisible force. We're going to walk through 6 specific steps to manage fear. Our goal here is to really decode that overwhelming sense of anxiety. We're taking a very structured, psychological approach to figure out exactly why this happens to us, and way more importantly, how we can actually manage it. So if you are genuinely ready to stop letting fear call the shots in your life, you are absolutely in the right place, because we're going to break this whole thing down step by step.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, the invisible force. Second, redefining what fearless means. Third, the 6 steps to freedom. And finally, real versus imagined fear.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the invisible force, and the fear inside us all.
Right off the bat, I love this quote because it instantly strips away all the shame we carry about being scared. See, whenever we face something unfamiliar, maybe it's the fear of failure keeping you from starting that side hustle, or just dreading what other people might think, our brain creates fear as a built-in protection mechanism. It doesn't matter if it's a literal physical threat or just an imagined social embarrassment, your brain sounds the exact same alarm. So let's just completely debunk the myth right now. There is no human being on Earth who is completely free from fear. You're afraid, I'm afraid, we all are. And honestly, that is perfectly normal.
Moving right along to Section 2, redefining what fearless means, myth versus reality.
Think about it. If every single person experiences fear, then what does it actually mean to be fearless? A lot of folks think being fearless means you just never feel scared, but as we literally just established, that's impossible. True courage is absolutely not the absence of feeling scared. Being fearless simply means taking action even when you are afraid. Let's go back to that side hustle idea. The person who stays stuck thinks, oh man, what if I fail? What if I go broke? And they just freeze. A fearless person feels those exact same stomach-churning doubts, but they flip the script. They say, you know what? Even if I fail, I'll learn something from the experience, and they take that first step anyway. Every single one of us feels fear. The only difference is the action you choose to take next.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 6 steps to freedom. This is your actionable roadmap.
Here are the 6 steps mapped out for you. 1. Accept fear. 2. Take action. 3. Reprogram mind. 4. Face it again. 5. Progress over perfection. And 6. Remember your why. Let's dig into that very first step you have to take when the panic sets in.
Step 1 is to accept your fear. This is where so many of us make a massive mistake. We puff out our chests and try to fake it, right? I'm not scared. But here's the thing, when you avoid or deny your fear, you actually give it way more power. It's wild, but it's true. Instead, you have to just acknowledge it. Tell yourself, yep, I am terrified of speaking up right now. I am scared of being judged. By calling it out, you gain awareness. And here is a real game changer of a habit. Write it down. When you put exactly what you're afraid of on paper, you step outside of it. You get to observe your anxiety objectively, instead of just blindly taking orders from it. And once you've accepted it, you immediately roll into step 2. Listen, fear absolutely thrives on imagination. It feeds on uncertainty and overthinking. So the absolute best antidote to overthinking? It's action. The second you actually do something, the fear starts to shrink. Just lock this mantra into your brain. Don't overthink, just move. That is your golden rule whenever uncertainty hits.
Let's make this super practical. Let's use the classic fear of public speaking as an example. You do not have to jump straight onto a TED Talk stage in front of 1,000 people. You use what we call micro-actions. Step 1, stand in front of a mirror and talk for just 1 single minute. Step 2, push it a tiny bit further and record yourself speaking, then actually listen to it. Yeah, it's going to be super cringy and uncomfortable, but do it anyway. Step 3, practice in front of literally just 1 or 2 close friends. And finally, step 4, speak to a slightly larger group of maybe 5 or 6 people. See what's happening here? You are gently, safely proving to your nervous system that you can handle this. Every little micro-action chips away at the power of that fear.
Now, while you're taking physical action, you've also got to tackle step 3, reprogramming your mind. Because fear doesn't just live in a racing heartbeat, it lives in your thoughts.
If you're constantly repeating, I can't do this, your brain takes that as a hard fact, and your body reacts by completely freaking out. We have to shift that internal dialogue. Try swapping, I can't do this, for I'll try, and I'll learn along the way. It sounds small, but it completely rewires your approach. Another huge tip from the source material is visualization. Just take 2 minutes to mentally rehearse success. Actually picture yourself staying cool, calm, and speaking clearly. When you do that, you're giving your brain a practice run, so the real event feels way less intimidating when it actually happens.
All right, moving to step 4. Here's a harsh truth. Facing your fear just one single time doesn't magically make it vanish forever. You've got to face it again and again. Repetition is absolutely essential here. The first time you try something scary, yeah, your mind might go totally blank. But the second or third time, your brain goes, oh, wait, I've been here before. I survived. This isn't actually a tiger trying to eat me. The more you expose yourself to a manageable fear, the more familiar it becomes, and the less intense that anxiety will be.
Step 5 tackles a massive roadblock for so many of us, worrying about what other people think. Look, if you obsess over being perfect, you will stay stuck forever. Perfection is a total illusion. There is no great speaker, artist, or business leader who started out flawless. All real growth starts with imperfection. If you make a mistake, it just means you're actually in the arena, trying. And trying is exactly what fearless people do. Remember, every mistake can be a lesson for improvement. Success belongs to the people willing to take messy, imperfect action. So please, focus entirely on progress, not perfection.
And finally, step 6. Whenever that sneaky doubt starts creeping back in, and it will, you need to anchor to your why. Why are you voluntarily making yourself uncomfortable? Is it to build a better future, to grow as a person, maybe to inspire someone else? When your underlying reason is crystal clear, the fear doesn't just poof out of existence, but it definitely shrinks in the shadow of your determination. Having a strong why acts like an anchor, keeping you focused and moving forward even when things get incredibly tough.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4. Real versus imagined fear. Understanding the root.
I want to share this really fascinating psychological nuance with you because it gets to the absolute root of what holds us back. Think about physical fear for a second. That's your body reacting to a real, immediate physical danger. It's purely a survival instinct. Now, look at the other side, psychological fear. This is manufactured entirely by your thoughts, your expectations, and your imagination. Things like, what if they laugh at me? Or, what if this completely flops? In those scenarios, absolutely nothing physically dangerous is happening to you. Your mind is simply predicting a bad outcome, and your body is treating that imaginary prediction like a real-life threat. The crazy part? Almost all of our day-to-day anxiety stems purely from this psychological, imagined fear.
So, that brings us to our final thought. The invisible force that's been holding you back is, in almost every single case, a complete illusion. It is a psychological ghost, conjured up by your own mind predicting a negative future. So I want to leave you with this question to ask yourself right now. Will you continue to let an imagined fear stop you? Or will you take just one piece of imperfect action today? Remember, don't overthink, just move. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep stepping into your fearless reality.